Hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we are traveling down south to the wonderful forgotten coast of Florida. Now, I know what you're saying, I don't remember that coast. That's because it is the forgotten coast. You know, we do have beaches, of course. Everyone thinks about Destin and Fort Walton and Panama City Beach. And then, you know, of course, we got Jacksonville and Fernandina Beach and Daytona Beach and you know, you go down further south to Fort Lauderdale and all in Miami Beach. You always think about that. What you don't think about is the forgotten coast, this little stretch that's right along the Panhandle, and it begins south of Panacea and runs over to Carabel, St. George Island, Apalachicola. And today, we're going to show you a little bit about it and talk about it a little bit. Now, as you know, we're from Tallahassee, Florida, and when you get south of Tallahassee, you're still in Leon County. But the next county over is called Wakulla County. Now, they used to have the little tags. I don't know if they did. It was called Wilkillia County, and all the guys with their pickup trucks, they always had those tags. Always was funny to me. Anyway, one of the places that we're entering here is Panacea, Florida, which is in Wakulla County. Now, Panacea was founded in 1895, and it's more of a fishing type of village. They've got Woolley Park here, Mash Sands Beach is a little south of here, and the Gulf Specimen Aquarium. But there's not a lot of what you would consider that sand beach beautiful quality in Panacea, Florida. And you can see that it's somewhat run down. But this part of the world, although it doesn't have the luster of the East Coast, it has a certain charm to it, and it's a nice place if you want to get away and find yourself as we approach some of the beach areas and the bay areas. I want you to just kind of imagine yourself relaxing. So where we're headed now, we're approaching the Ochlockonee Bay Bridge, and Ochlockonee Bay runs over to Highway 98, which is the coastal highway, and you'll see to my left up here, Angelo and Son Seafood Restaurant. Been here a long time. Used to go there with the kid way back when, man, 20 years ago. This is Ochlockonee Bay, and these waters can be quite treacherous. There's a lot of oyster bars and that sort of thing. So if you don't really know how to navigate in these areas, you can tear the bottom out of your boat. I used to come out here and kayak with my son, and it is beautiful out here. There's a place just south of here called St. Teresa, and there was a couple of trips that we made down here. A good friend of mine, his family owns a home down in St. Teresa, and we used to be able to stay there some, and we would take our kids down there and spend some time at the beach. The husband and wife that own the home, the wife has since passed away. They're an elderly couple, but they were always so gracious and so sweet. One year they allowed us to go in with family and friends and spend a week there, and it was just beautiful. It was this beach that you had total access to, and the beaches down here, that is one of the major draws when you come down here. If you find a rental down here along the forgotten coast, when you go drink your cup of coffee on the beach, it's your beach. It's very quiet down here, very serene, very off the beaten path. That is the draw, that's the allure. So enjoy the ride as we approach beautiful Carabel, Florida. And like a breath of fresh air, welcome to beautiful Carabel, Florida. You know, the funny thing about Carabel, it's 5.6 square miles is the landmass. 4.5 square miles of that is on land, and 1.1 square miles of that is over the water. You know, we used to bring the kids down here and come to the beach and have a lot of fun. But before we get too far into that, let me show you a point of interest. Haha. If you're ever coming through Carabel, don't get into trouble, because they have the world's smallest police department. There it is right there. So if you end up getting put in that jail, buddy, you're going to be hurting for certain. You might cramp up a bit. All joking aside, though, we do love Carabel. We used to come down here when my oldest daughter had her Jeep and I had my Jeep, and we would drive down here, and sometimes, I guess maybe not responsibly, but as homeschool parents, we would have the opportunity, we'll just say, to enjoy the day on the beach with our kids as opposed to struggling through a classroom day. Now, we were very strict parents, but when we would surprise the kids, we would do things like this. They always enjoyed coming down here, and we always enjoyed getting the Jeep stuck in the sand and eating at a small restaurant and getting a hamburger. And it's crazy because since all of this stuff has happened here, a lot of businesses have just gone under. These things were kind of on their last leg anyway, because the Forgotten Coast is somewhat forgotten. So it really has damaged it. If you get a chance to visit the Forgotten Coast, give Carabel a stop and see. It really is quite a nice little town. I want to take an opportunity to thank all of our subscribers for making the channel so successful. And if you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber, if you would click that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with your friends, Coach Vic and I would greatly appreciate it. Now, this beach that you're looking at off our left-hand side, years ago, I had a friend of mine named John, and him and I and a buddy of mine that I mentioned in a previous video named Dan, who on a hiking trip was going to drink his pee because he was thirsty. You may remember that story. If not, see our California trip day 2 and you'll hear that story. But John and Dan and I got in 3 sea kayaks. I was a big sea kayaker years ago, and we got in the sea kayaks and we were going to do a little triangle. You go out like 5 miles to Dog Island, and then you cross over to St. George Island, and then you come back across to Carabel Beach. Now, the further out we got, the rougher the water got, and I felt very confident. It was never a problem. I wasn't nervous at all. And Dan was doing okay as well, but John was terrified, and you could see it in his body. He would tense up every time the wave would hit the bow of his kayak, which he had a very nice seaworthy kayak. But John was a little older than us and not a real athletic guy. So we were headed towards the island. We were over the halfway point and things started to get a little more rough. I asked John, hey man, do you want to turn around and go back to the beach? We won't be offended. We can take you back. And everything within me was saying, hey, we need to turn around and go back. But against my better judgment, I took his word that he was ready, and we pressed on. And it wasn't long after that he panicked as a wave came and tried to turn to avoid it, and took the wave right on the side of the kayak, flipping the kayak over and tossing him into the drink. Now, as a sea kayak guy, being in the water is not something that scares you, and you learn that that kind of goes along with the territory. John was new to this. He was terrified. He was in the water, and I came up, I grabbed his things and pulled his boat towards him. And there's a maneuver where you can have all of the kayaks kind of get side by side so that you can hold them stable, and then the person can climb up in their boat. So John, as we did that, as we shored the 3 kayaks together, John came up and tried to get back in the boat. He could not get back in. The more he tried, the more exhausted he got. He would lay in the water. I'd tell him, lay back, use your life vest, catch your breath, and try again. Eventually it got to the point to where I laid across the top of the boats and pulled him into the kayak again. It was at that moment I realized that he wasn't ready for this. He wanted to press on. Once back in the boat, he wanted to press on. And I said, you know what? Let me tell you what's happened. I simply put you back in the place where you failed before. And if we continue on this path, it is quite likely that you will end up in the water again. And we may not be able to get you back in the boat because you're so exhausted already. I think it's best that we turn around and head towards the shore. As we turned the boats around to head back into the shore, a wave came and knocked John out again. This time, we could not get him into the boat. There was nothing we could do. It was absolutely all I had to lift him, and he could not help at all. One of the maneuvers that you learn is to paddle with someone hanging on the back of your kayak. Well, let me tell you something. Kayaks are very streamlined in the water unless there's a 200-pound man dragging through the water. We were a mile or two out. What I did is I lashed John's boat and all of his things to the back of Dan's kayak, and I hauled John back in. It was exhausting. We made it back in, and we were coming out. We got out of the house right here along this bay, Apalachicola Bay. And every time I'm in this part of the country, I think about that trip and how exhausted John was and how scary it was. And I told myself at that point, I will never go out in a sea kayak with someone unless I know what their abilities are, because he could have very easily lost his life that day, and I thank God that we made it back safely. So why would I share a story like that on a motorcycle? Well, we're going to talk about that right after we get across this beautiful bay bridge and we look at the wonderful city of Apalachicola. Now, Apalachicola is a pretty awesome place. They have a lot of things that go on there, car shows, festivals, that sort of thing. They have a star fishing competition. No, that's not where you catch starfish. It's star fishing competition. They have, a lot of artisan markets and farmers markets, and they have a beautiful inn there called the Gibson Inn, and it was built in 1907, and during World War II it housed officers. And the Gibson Inn, as of late, is known as the coolest spot in the Panhandle. So without further ado, enjoy the beauty of Apalachicola Bay and the wonderful Apalachicola. So before we conclude the little story that we started earlier, again, if you would, like this video, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to the channel. Coach Vic and I really appreciate it, and we are having a great time creating content for you. We really do hope to keep it top-notch and first class and really positive. We hope you find these videos uplifting and that they make your day a little sweeter and a little better. That's our goal. Hopefully we're achieving that. So as you could see, Apalachicola and these areas are nice. They're beautiful, but they're not going to last a whole lot longer if things don't change. So prayers and kudos to the people that are fighting the good fight. Hopefully things will get better very soon and you can be fruitful and experience all the success that you could possibly imagine in these wonderful places along the Forgotten Coast. Now, the reason of the story, as I look out at this water and I think about the story I was telling you earlier with John about how he could have drowned and it could have ended up being a really, really messed up day. And all of those things, all of those memories, I learned lessons and I try to apply those things to other parts of my life. And hopefully I can share those things with other people. So what I want to tell you is when you're exhausted, when you're tired, when you plan a trip, always make sure you are prepared. Not just your machine. It is vitally important that your machine is prepared. But what even is more important is that you are prepared emotionally and physically and spiritually. You need to be prepared for everything that the world is going to throw at you. And then it's going to throw even a little more at you. And when it does, don't freak out and don't panic. Many times as Coach Vic and I head out on an adventure and we look at weather and we look at traffic and all of the things that pop up in our way, and things always do get in the way, we look at it with a face of excitement like a child would look at a new adventure, and that's how we approach each day as we travel. I hope you get that out of this channel, and I hope that you see that in the way we approach adventure. So remember, if you are on the edge of your limit and you don't think that you're going to be able to make it, pull over, take a break. Remember, trying to push further, you're just in the place you're setting yourself up for failure. Take a break, sit down, enjoy the moment. There's a lot of power in that statement, enjoy the moment. Make sure you do it. So, we're going to wrap things up here and enjoy our ride back to beautiful Tallahassee, Florida, along Highway 98 and the Forgotten Coast. Until next time, what I want you to do, go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Now go seize the day. We'll talk to you soon.